flame flickers, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Outside, the night is deep and still. The city sleeps. Even the dogs have stopped barking. Only the old philosopher remains awake, writing his letters by the dying light. He thinks about death. This is another subject he returned to often, not because he was morbid, but because he believed that thinking about death helps us live better. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life, he writes. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. If we knew we were going to die tomorrow, how would we spend today? We would not waste it on trivial things. We would not spend it in anger or worry. We would spend it with the people we love, doing the things that matter. Seneca suggests that we should live every day as if it were our last, not in a frantic, desperate way, but in a calm, purposeful way. We should do the things that are important. We should say the things that need to be said. We should leave nothing undone. The whole of life, he writes, lies in the present. The past is gone. We cannot change it. The future is uncertain. We cannot control it. All we have is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. If we learn to live fully in the present, we will never feel that life is too short. Seneca was not afraid of death. He had thought about it too much to fear it. He knew that death comes to everyone, rich and poor, wise and foolish. It is the one certainty in an uncertain world. It is not death that a man should fear, he wrote, but he should fear never beginning to live. Many people go through life half asleep, never fully awake to the beauty and wonder around them. They are so busy worrying about the future or regretting the past that they miss the present entirely. And then, when death comes, they realize they never really lived. Seneca did not want this for himself or for Lucilius. He wanted them both to live fully, deeply, consciously, to appreciate each day as the gift it is, to find joy in simple things, to love well and be loved in return. The candle gutters and goes out. Seneca sits in darkness for a moment, letting his eyes adjust. Then he rises and walks to the window. The moon is high now, bathing the garden in silver light. The olive trees stand like silent sentinels. A gentle breeze stirs their leaves, making them whisper. Seneca breathes deeply. The night air is cool and fresh. It smells of earth and growing things. He feels at peace. This is tranquility, he thinks. This quiet moment, this stillness of the mind. This is what he has been writing about all along. Tranquility is not the absence of problems. It is not a life without challenges or sorrows. It is a state of mind, a way of being in the world. It is the ability to remain calm in the midst of chaos, to find peace, even when everything around us is turbulent. Seneca returns to his desk and lights a new candle. He has more to write. He tells Lucilius about the importance of self-examination. Every night before he goes to sleep, Seneca reviews his day. He asks himself, what bad habit have I curbed today? What fault have I resisted? In what way am I better? This is not self-criticism. It is not beating yourself up for your mistakes. It is gentle, honest reflection. It is looking at yourself clearly, without judgment, and asking, how you can improve. The spirit ought to be brought up for examination daily, he writes. When the light has been removed and my wife has become silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I have done and said. This practice, Seneca found, helped him become a better person. Each day, he noticed his faults a little more clearly. Each day, he corrected them a little more successfully. Over time, he became calmer, wiser, more at peace. He recommends this practice to Lucilius, not as a punishment, but as a gift. The examined life, as another philosopher once said, is the only life worth living. Let us pause here for a moment. Let us sit with Seneca in his quiet room, feeling the peace that surrounds him. Outside, the world goes on with all its noise and confusion. People argue and fight. Empires rise and fall. But here, in this small circle of candlelight, there is stillness. This is what Seneca offers us across the centuries. Not answers to all our questions, not solutions to all our problems, but a way of being in the world, a way of finding peace. Now let us continue through the letters. Seneca writes about wealth, a subject he knew well. He was a wealthy man, one of the richest in Rome. But he did not believe that wealth brought happiness. It is not the man who has too little, he writes again, but the man who craves more, that is poor. True wealth, Seneca believed, is not measured in gold or property. It is measured in contentment. A person who is satisfied with what they have is richer than a person who owns everything but always wants more. Seneca knew wealthy men who were miserable. They had palaces and slaves and chests full of gold, but they lay awake at night, worrying about losing it all. They could not enjoy their wealth because they were too afraid of poverty. And he knew poor men who were happy. They had little, but they needed little. They enjoyed their simple meals, their humble homes, their honest work. They slept soundly at night, unburdened by possessions. Wealth is the slave of a wise man, Seneca writes, and the master of a fool. A wise person uses wealth as a tool. They enjoy it when they have it, but they are not destroyed when they lose it. They hold their possessions lightly, knowing that nothing in this world is permanent. A foolish person is enslaved by wealth. They sacrifice their health, their relationships, their peace of mind, all in pursuit of more money. And when they finally have it, they find it does not satisfy them. They want more. Seneca advises Lucilius to practice poverty from time to time, to eat simple food, to wear rough clothes, to sleep on a hard bed, not as punishment, but as preparation. Set aside a certain number of days, he writes, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" By practicing poverty voluntarily, we lose our fear of it. We discover that we can be happy with very little, and this knowledge sets us free. The night moves on. The moon crosses the sky, its light shifting through Seneca's window. The old philosopher writes and writes, his pen scratching steadily on the papyrus. He tells Lucilius about the importance of choosing friends wisely. We become like the people we spend time with. If we surround ourselves with foolish people, we become foolish. If we surround ourselves with wise people, we become wise. Associate with those who will make a better man of you, he advises. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. A good friend challenges us to be our best selves. They do not flatter us or tell us what we want to hear. They tell us the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. They hold us accountable. But friendship is not just about improvement. It is also about comfort, about companionship, about shared joy. A true friend is someone we can be ourselves with, someone who accepts us as we are, even as they encourage us to grow. Seneca treasured his friendships. He wrote letters not just to Lucilius, but to many others. He maintained connections across distances and years. He knew that human beings are not meant to be alone. No good thing is pleasant to possess, he writes, without friends to share it. What is the point of success if there is no one to celebrate with? What is the point of wisdom if there is no one to share it with? Our joys are doubled when we share them. Our sorrows are halved. Seneca picks up his cup and takes a sip of water. It is cool and refreshing. Even this simple pleasure, he thinks, is better when shared. He thinks about all the meals he has eaten with friends, the conversations that lasted long into the night, the laughter, the arguments, the moments of deep connection. These are the treasures of a life well lived. Now let us follow Seneca into another letter, written perhaps on another night, or perhaps on the same night. Time blurs when we are reading. The letters seem to flow into one another, like streams joining a river. Seneca writes about the fear of the future. This is something that troubles many people. They worry about what might happen. They imagine disasters that may never come. They rob themselves of present happiness by anticipating future sorrow. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, he writes. Think about all the things you have worried about in your life. How many of them actually happened? And of those that did happen, how many were as bad as you feared? Most of our worries are phantoms. They exist only in our minds. We create them, we feed them, we give them power over us. And all the while, the present moment slips away, unnoticed and unappreciated. Seneca advises us to stay in the present, to deal with problems when they arise, not before, to trust that we will have the strength to face whatever comes. True happiness is to enjoy the present, he writes, without anxious dependence upon the future. This does not mean we should not plan. It does not mean we should be reckless or irresponsible. But it means we should not let worry steal our peace. We should do what we can to prepare for the future, and then let go. The future will come in its own time. It will bring what it brings. We cannot control it. We can only control how we respond. Seneca learned this lesson through hard experience. He had faced exile, illness, the threat of death. He had lost friends, lost status, lost everything he thought he valued. And he had survived. More than survived, he had thrived. Each difficulty had taught him something. Each loss had made him stronger. He had discovered resources within himself that he did not know he possessed. Difficulties strengthen the mind, he writes, as labor does the body. We grow through challenges. We become who we are meant to be by facing what we fear. The easy life is not the good life. The good life is the life that tests us and transforms us. The candle flickers again. Seneca pauses his writing and watches the flame. It dances and sways, responding to currents of air too subtle to feel. It is beautiful in its fragility. Everything beautiful is fragile, he thinks. The flower, the sunset, the human life. But this fragility is part of the beauty. It is because things pass that they are precious. He picks up his pen and continues. He writes about grief, that heavy burden that weighs on the heart. Seneca had known grief. He had lost his son, a young man full of promise. The pain had been almost unbearable. But he had learned to carry it, not to forget, not to stop loving, but to integrate the loss into his life, to honor the memory of his son by living well. Let us see to it that the recollection of those whom we have lost becomes a pleasant memory to us, he writes. Grief is natural. It is the price we pay for love. When we lose someone we love, we should grieve, we should cry, we should mourn, we should feel the full weight of our loss. But we should not let grief destroy us. We should not let it become a permanent state. In time, we must learn to live again. We must find joy again. This is not a betrayal of the one we lost. It is a tribute to them. The person you have lost, Seneca writes, would not want you to be tortured by endless grief. Those who loved us want us to be happy. They want us to live fully, to find new joys, to make new memories. They want their love to have made us stronger, not weaker. Seneca advises moderation in grief, not suppression, but moderation. We should feel our sorrow deeply, but we should not wallow in it. We should remember our loved ones with gratitude, not just with pain. What need is there to weep over parts of life, he asks. The whole of it calls for tears. Life is full of loss. We lose our youth, our health, our friends, our dreams. Everything we love will eventually be taken from us. This is the nature of existence. But life is also full of beauty. Every loss is preceded by a gift. Before we lose someone, we have the joy of knowing them. Before we lose our youth, we have the pleasure of being young. Before we lose anything, we have the blessing of possessing it. Seneca suggests that we should focus on the gift, not the loss. When we think of those we have lost, we should remember the good times, the laughter, the love. We should be grateful that they were part of our lives, even for a short time. It is better to have had a good friend and lost them, he implies, than never to have had a good friend at all. The night grows late. Seneca's eyes are heavy, but he has more to say. He writes about the importance of living according to nature. This was a central teaching of his philosophy. Human beings, he believed, are part of the natural world. We are not separate from it. We are woven into it, like threads in a vast tapestry. When we live according to nature, we are at peace. When we fight against nature, we suffer. But what does it mean to live according to nature? It means accepting the things we cannot change. It means working with the world, not against it. It means recognizing our place in the larger order of things. We are born into a kingdom, Seneca writes. To obey God is freedom. By God, Seneca did not mean a personal deity who answers prayers and grants wishes. He meant the rational order of the universe, the laws that govern all things, the way things are. When we align ourselves with this order, we find peace. When we resist it, we find only frustration and pain. Consider the seasons. Spring follows winter. Summer follows spring. We cannot change this. We can only accept it and adapt. Consider aging. Our bodies grow old and weak. We cannot stop this. We can only accept it and find new ways to be useful and happy. Consider death. Everything that lives must die. We cannot escape this. We can only accept it and make the most of the time we have. Begin at once to live, Seneca urges, and count each separate day as a separate life. Each day is a complete life in miniature. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has its joys and its sorrows, its challenges and its triumphs. If we can learn to live each day fully, we will have lived a full life, no matter how many days we are given. Seneca sets down his pen. His hand is tired. His eyes are tired. But his heart is full. He looks around his simple room, the desk where he writes, the bed where he sleeps, the window that looks out onto the garden. These are his possessions, and they are enough. He thinks about all the letters he has written to Lucilius, all the wisdom he has tried to share. He hopes they will be helpful. He hopes they will bring his friend some peace. But he knows that wisdom cannot be given. It can only be pointed to. Each person must find it for themselves. Each person must walk their own path. No man is good by chance, he writes. Virtue is something that must be learned. We are not born wise. We become wise through effort, through practice, through reflection. We become wise by making mistakes and learning from them. We become wise by listening to those who have gone before us. Seneca hopes that his letters will be a guide for Lucilius. Not a map, but a compass. Not answers, but questions. Not a destination, but a direction. The moon begins to set. The first hints of dawn appear on the horizon. The birds stir in the olive trees, beginning their morning songs. Seneca rises from his desk and walks to the window. The garden is grey in the pre-dawn light. The air is cool and fresh. A new day is beginning. He feels grateful. Grateful for the night of writing. Grateful for the friendship with Lucilius. Grateful for the life he has been given. When a person has made progress, he writes, they begin to enjoy themselves. This is the reward of wisdom. Not wealth, not fame, not power, but enjoyment. The simple pleasure of being alive. The deep satisfaction of a life well lived. Seneca returns to his desk and picks up his pen one more time. He wants to add a few more thoughts before the day begins. He writes about the importance of solitude. We need time alone, he says. Time to think, to reflect, to know ourselves. The mind must be given relaxation, he advises. It will rise improved and sharper after a good break. In solitude, we discover who we really are. We hear our own thoughts, undistorted by the opinions of others. We face our own fears, unmasked by the distractions of busy life. But solitude should not become isolation. We need both time alone and time with others. We need the silence of our own thoughts and the music of conversation. We need the inward journey and the outward connection. Retire into yourself as much as you can, Seneca writes. Associate with those who will make you a better person. Balance is the key. Balance between solitude and society. Balance between work and rest. Balance between thought and action. The wise person finds this balance and maintains it. Seneca thinks about his own life, the years of public service, the years of exile, the years of writing. He has known both the crowded forum and the lonely island. He has learned from both. Now, in his old age, he prefers quiet. He prefers his books and his letters, his garden and his thoughts. He has had enough of the world's noise. He wants only peace. I am not so old, he writes, that I am ashamed to be carried in a litter, but I do not ride in one because it is not necessary. He could live in luxury if he wanted. He has the wealth for it, but he chooses simplicity. He has learned that luxury does not bring happiness. Only peace brings happiness. The sun rises over Rome. Its golden light floods Seneca's room. The candle, still burning, becomes unnecessary. He blows it out. A new day has begun. There will be letters to send, visitors to receive, duties to perform. But for now, for this moment, there is only the quiet joy of being alive. Seneca rolls up the papyrus he's been writing on. He will finish the letter later. For now, he wants to sit in the sunlight and feel its warmth on his face. He closes his eyes. He breathes deeply. He lets his mind grow still. This is tranquility. This is peace. This is what he has been writing about all along. Now let us move forward through more of Seneca's letters. There is so much wisdom to explore. In another letter, Seneca writes about the value of philosophy, not as an academic exercise, but as a way of life. Philosophy is not a trick for winning applause, he says. It is not something we study for show. It is not concerned with words, but with facts. Philosophy, for Seneca, was practical. It was about how to live, how to face difficulties, how to find happiness. It was medicine for the soul. He had little patience for philosophers who spent their time on abstract arguments that had no bearing on real life. What good is knowing the nature of the universe if you cannot control your own temper? What good is understanding logic if you cannot find peace? The philosopher's task, he writes, is to help people live well. And living well, for Seneca, meant living virtuously. It meant being honest, being kind, being courageous. It meant treating others with respect. It meant facing difficulties with dignity. Virtue, he believed, was the only true good. Everything else, wealth, health, pleasure, could be taken away. But virtue was ours to keep. No one could make us dishonest against our will. No one could force us to be cruel. Virtue is nothing else than right reason, he writes. When we act according to reason, we act virtuously. When we let our emotions control us, we act foolishly. The wise person cultivates reason and restrains emotion. This does not mean suppressing our feelings. Seneca was not cold or unfeeling. He loved deeply, grieved deeply, felt deeply. But he did not let his feelings dictate his actions. We should not be slaves to our emotions, he advises. We should be their masters. When anger arises, we should acknowledge it, but not act on it. When fear arises, we should face it, but not flee from it. When desire arises, we should examine it, but not be controlled by it. This is the discipline of the wise. It is not easy. It takes practice, but it leads to freedom. Seneca compares the untrained mind to a wild horse. It runs wherever it wants, following every impulse. It cannot be controlled. It cannot be trusted. The trained mind is like a horse that has been broken. It still has its energy, its spirit, but it responds to the rider's commands. It can be directed toward worthy goals. The first step in training the mind, Seneca writes, is to recognize that it needs training. Most people do not realize how little control they have over their own thoughts. They are carried along by the current of their minds, never questioning where it leads. The philosopher questions everything. They examine their thoughts, their beliefs, their assumptions. They ask, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this leading me toward wisdom or away from it? This constant examination is the heart of the philosophical life. It is not comfortable, it is not easy, but it is necessary. The unexamined life, as another philosopher said, is not worth living. Seneca agrees. Without examination, we drift through life unconsciously. We repeat the same mistakes. We never grow. We never change. With examination, we become aware. We see our patterns. We understand our weaknesses, and we can begin to improve. The morning light grows stronger in Seneca's room. The day is well begun now. Soon he will have to attend to his duties. But for a few more moments, he continues to write. He tells Lucilius about the importance of consistency. It is not enough to act wisely once. We must act wisely again and again, day after day, until wisdom becomes a habit. No one can live happily, he writes, who has regard for himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his own utility. We are social creatures. We need each other. The wise person recognizes this and acts accordingly. They help others not because they expect something in return, but because helping is good. Seneca was generous with his wealth, his time, his wisdom. He gave freely, expecting nothing. He knew that giving enriches the giver as much as the receiver. There is no enjoying the possession of anything valuable, he writes, unless one has someone to share it with. Joy shared is joy multiplied. Sorrow shared is sorrow divided. This is the mathematics of human connection. Seneca folds the letter and sets it aside. He will send it to Lucilius later. For now, he rises and stretches his old bones. The garden calls to him. He wants to walk among the olive trees, to feel the earth beneath his feet. to smell the flowers. These simple pleasures never grow old. He steps outside. The air is warm now, fragrant with the scent of herbs. Bees buzz among the blossoms. A bird sings somewhere out of sight. Seneca walks slowly, mindfully. He notices the texture of the bark on the trees. He notices the colour of the leaves. He notices the play of light and shadow on the ground. This is meditation in motion. This is philosophy in practice. This is living in the present moment. He thinks about all the mornings he has walked in this garden. Thousands of them, probably. Each one different. Each one precious. He has never taken them for granted. We should count each day as a separate life, he reminds himself. Today is a new life. Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow is not yet here. Only today exists. Only this moment. He pauses by a rose bush. The flowers are red, deep red, like wine or blood. He leans close and inhales their fragrance. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may, a later poet would write. Seneca would have agreed. Enjoy the beauty while it lasts. Do not postpone joy. He continues his walk. The garden is small, but it contains a world. Every plant, every insect, every stone has its own story. Every corner holds a secret. Seneca has learned to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. The miracle of a seed becoming a tree. The mystery of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. The wonder of water rising from the earth and falling from the sky. Nature has given us the seeds of knowledge, he writes, not knowledge itself. We must cultivate these seeds. We must nurture them with attention and care. Then they will grow into wisdom. The sun climbs higher. The morning grows warm. Seneca returns to his house, refreshed by his walk. He has duties to attend to now. Letters to answer, visitors to receive, decisions to make. But he carries the peace of the garden with him. This is the art of living. To find peace in the midst of busyness. To remain calm in the center of the storm. To keep one's balance no matter what happens. Seneca learned this art through years of practice. He was not born wise. He became wise. And he wants to help Lucilius become wise too. Now let us follow Seneca through more of his letters. The day passes, and evening comes again. He sits at his desk, writing by candlelight once more. He writes about the fear of death. This is a fear that troubles many people. They lie awake at night, thinking about the end. They cannot enjoy life, because they are afraid of losing it. Seneca addresses this fear directly. He does not minimize it or dismiss it. He takes it seriously, but he offers a different perspective. It is not death that is to be feared, he writes, but the fear of death. Death itself is nothing. It is simply the end of experience. We do not fear the time before we were born. Why should we fear the time after we die? Non fui, non sum, non curo, the ancients said. I was not, I was, I am not, I do not care. Before we were born, we did not exist. We were not troubled by this non-existence. After we die, we will not exist again. We will not be troubled by this either. The fear of death is really the fear of losing what we have. Our pleasures, our relationships, our sense of self. But these things are temporary anyway. We are losing them all the time. We are dying every day, Seneca writes. Every day, a little of our life is taken from us. Even when we are growing, our life is on the wane. From the moment we are born, we begin to die. Each day, we have a little less time remaining. This is not morbid. It is simply true. When we accept this truth, we stop fearing death. We start living fully. We stop postponing joy. We start appreciating what we have. Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life, Seneca advises. Let us postpone nothing. If today were your last day, how would you spend it? Would you waste it on worry and regret, or would you fill it with love and meaning? Seneca suggests we live every day as if it were our last, not in a frantic, desperate way, but in a calm, purposeful way, doing what matters, saying what needs to be said, leaving nothing undone. The day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity, he writes. Death is not the end. It is a transition. What comes after, Seneca does not claim to know, but he trusts that it is part of the natural order, and the natural order is good. The candle flickers, the shadows dance. Seneca writes on. He tells Lucilius about the importance of accepting fate. We cannot control what happens to us. We can only control how we respond. Fate leads the willing, he quotes an old saying, and drags the unwilling. We can go willingly where life takes us, or we can be dragged kicking and screaming. Either way, we will arrive at the same place. But the willing traveller arrives in peace. The unwilling traveller arrives in pieces. This is not fatalism. It is not giving up. It is recognizing what is within our control and what is not. We can control our thoughts, our attitudes, our actions. We cannot control the weather, other people, the course of events. When we focus on what we can control, we feel empowered. When we focus on what we cannot control, we feel helpless. The wise person focuses on what they can control. Make the best use of what is in your power, Seneca advises, and take the rest as it happens. This is practical wisdom. It does not promise that everything will turn out well. It promises that we will be able to face whatever happens. Seneca had faced many difficulties in his life: exile, illness, political intrigue, the threat of death. He had not always handled them perfectly, but he had learned from each one. Difficulties strengthen the mind, he writes, as labor does the body. We grow through challenges. We become who we are meant to be by facing what we fear. The easy life is not the good life. The good life is the life that tests us and transforms us. When difficulties come, we should not ask, "Why me?" We should ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every obstacle is an opportunity. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. The gem cannot be polished without friction, Seneca observes, nor man perfected without trials. We are all works in progress. We are all being shaped by our experiences. The question is not whether we will face difficulties. The question is how we will respond to them. Will we become bitter or better? Will we close our hearts or open them? Will we give up or grow up? The choice is ours. It is always ours. Seneca sets down his pen and rubs his eyes. He is tired. The hour is late. But he feels satisfied with what he has written. He hopes Lucilius will find these words helpful. He hopes they will bring his friend some peace. But he knows that words are not enough. Lucilius must put the teachings into practice. He must test them against his own experience. He must make them his own. Do not merely read, Seneca advises. Apply what you read to your life. Philosophy is not a spectator sport. It is a practice. It is something we do, not something we know. The wisest person is not the one who has read the most books. It is the one who lives the best life. Seneca blows out the candle and lies down on his simple bed. The room is dark. The house is quiet. Only the sounds of the night remain. He closes his eyes and lets his mind grow still. The thoughts of the day fade away. The worries of tomorrow do not intrude. There is only this moment, this breath, this peace. Sleep comes gently, like a friend. It wraps around him, soft and warm. He surrenders to it willingly. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities, but that is tomorrow. Tonight, there is only rest. Let us rest with Seneca for a while. Let us share in his peace. The night passes. The stars wheel overhead. The moon sets and the sun rises. A new day begins. Seneca wakes refreshed. He rises and washes his face in cool water. He eats a simple breakfast of bread and fruit. He prepares for the day ahead. But before he attends to his duties, he sits at his desk and writes another letter to Lucilius. He writes about the importance of living in the present. So many people, he says, live in the past or the future. They regret what has happened or worry about what might happen. They miss the only time that actually exists: now. True happiness is to enjoy the present, he writes, without anxious dependence upon the future. The past is gone. We cannot change it. We can learn from it, but we should not dwell in it. The future is uncertain. We cannot control it. We can prepare for it, but we should not live in it. Only the present is real. Only now exists, and now is always enough. Begin at once to live, Seneca urges, and count each separate day as a separate life. Each day is a gift. Each moment is precious. When we truly understand this, we stop wasting time. We start living fully. Seneca thinks about all the people he knows who are always waiting for the right moment, waiting for their circumstances to change, waiting to start living. While we wait for life, he writes, life passes. There is no perfect moment. There is no ideal circumstance. There is only now, with all its imperfections. And now is the time to act. If you want to change your life, start today. If you want to learn something new, begin now. If you want to tell someone you love them, do it immediately. Do not wait. It is not that we have a short time to live, Seneca repeats, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough for those who use it well. It is short only for those who squander it. Seneca folds the letter and seals it. He will send it with the morning messenger. Then he will attend to his duties. But first he takes a moment to look out the window. The garden is bright in the morning sun. The olive trees sway gently in the breeze. A bird sings its morning song. He feels grateful. Grateful for this day. Grateful for this life. Grateful for the opportunity to share his wisdom with a friend. This is enough. This is more than enough. This is everything. Now let us continue through Seneca's letters. There is still much wisdom to explore. In another letter, Seneca writes about the nature of happiness. What is it? Where does it come from? How can we find it? True happiness, he says, is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. Happiness, for Seneca, is not a feeling. It is a state of being. It is not something that happens to us. It is something we cultivate. We cultivate happiness by wanting what we have, not having what we want. We cultivate it by appreciating the present moment, not longing for the future. We cultivate it by accepting ourselves as we are, not wishing we were different. No man is happy who does not think himself so, Seneca writes. Happiness is a choice. It is a perspective. It is a way of looking at the world. Two people can have the same circumstances and be completely different in their happiness. One sees only what is lacking. The other sees only what is present. One is miserable. The other is content. The difference is not in their circumstances. It is in their minds. Seneca knew wealthy people who were miserable and poor people who were happy. He knew healthy people who complained constantly and sick people who radiated joy. He knew that external circumstances have little to do with internal peace. It is the mind that makes us rich or poor, he writes. A rich mind finds abundance everywhere. A poor mind finds scarcity everywhere. The world is the same. The perception is different. How do we cultivate a rich mind? By practicing gratitude, by focusing on what we have, not what we lack, by appreciating the simple things, by finding beauty in the ordinary. We should every night call ourselves to an account, Seneca advises. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired? This daily practice of reflection helps us see our progress. It helps us appreciate how far we have come. It helps us cultivate a sense of accomplishment and peace. The morning passes. Seneca attends to his duties. He meets with visitors, answers letters, makes decisions. But through it all, he maintains his inner calm. This is the mark of the wise person. They are not disturbed by external events. They remain centered, balanced, at peace. The wise man is not disturbed by anything, Seneca writes. He has learned to accept whatever happens. This does not mean the wise person is passive or indifferent. They still act. They still care. But they do not attach their happiness to outcomes. They do their best and accept the results. Do what you can, Seneca advises, with what you have, where you are. This is practical wisdom. It does not demand perfection. It does not require special circumstances. It asks only that we do our best, right here, right now, and our best is always enough. It may not achieve everything we hope for. It may not change the world, but it is our contribution. It is our gift. The afternoon comes. The sun moves across the sky. Seneca takes a break from his duties and walks in his garden. The heat of the day is building. The plants droop slightly in the warmth, but in the shade of the olive trees, it is cool and pleasant. Seneca sits on a stone bench and closes his eyes. He listens to the sounds around him, the buzz of insects, the rustle of leaves, the distant sounds of the city. He lets his mind grow quiet. The thoughts of the day fade away. There is only this moment, this place, this peace. This is meditation. This is the practice of presence. This is what Seneca has been writing about all along. We do not need special techniques or secret knowledge. We only need to stop and be still, to let go of our thoughts and simply exist. Nature has given us the seeds of knowledge, Seneca writes, not knowledge itself. The seeds are within us. The wisdom is within us. We only need to cultivate it. We only need to create the conditions for it to grow. Stillness is one of those conditions. Silence is another. When we stop the constant chatter of the mind, wisdom can arise. Seneca sits in silence for a long time. The sun moves across the sky. The shadows shift, but he does not move. Eventually he opens his eyes. He feels refreshed, renewed. He is ready to continue his day. He returns to his house and picks up his pen. There is another letter to write. He writes about the importance of self-sufficiency. We should not depend on external things for our happiness. We should find it within ourselves. The happy life is to have a mind that is free, lofty, fearless, and steadfast, he writes. A mind beyond the influence of fear or desire. This is a high ideal. Few achieve it perfectly, but it is worth striving for. When we depend on external things for our happiness, we are vulnerable. Those things can be taken away. People can disappoint us. Circumstances can change. But when we find happiness within ourselves, we are secure. No one can take our peace from us. No circumstance can destroy our joy. The wise man is sufficient unto himself, Seneca writes. Not that he wishes to be without friends, but that he can be without them. This is not isolation. It is not loneliness. It is a kind of inner strength. The wise person enjoys friendship, but they do not need it to be happy. They appreciate wealth, but they do not require it to be content. This self-sufficiency is freedom. It is the ability to be happy regardless of circumstances. It is the ultimate goal of philosophy. Seneca knew that he had not achieved this goal perfectly. He still had attachments. He still had fears, but he was working toward it. Every day he practiced letting go. I am not yet wise, he admits, but I am making progress. This humility is part of wisdom. The truly wise person knows how much they do not know. They are always learning, always growing, always improving. Even the wisest man, Seneca writes, must still be learning. The evening comes again. The sun sets over Rome, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Seneca watches from his window. He thinks about all the sunsets he has seen, thousands of them, each one different, each one beautiful. He will not see many more. He knows this. His life is drawing to a close, but he is not sad. He has lived well. He has loved well. He has learned much and shared what he has learned. What more can anyone ask? The point is not how long you live, he writes, but how nobly. A short life lived well is better than a long life lived poorly. Quality matters more than quantity. Depth matters more than duration. Seneca has lived deeply. He has thought deeply. He has felt deeply. His life has been full, even if it has not been long. He lights a candle and sits at his desk. There is one more letter to write tonight. He writes about the end of life, not with fear, but with acceptance. The day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity, he reminds Lucilius. Death is not the end, it is a transformation. What comes after, Seneca does not claim to know, but he trusts that it is part of the natural order, and the natural order is good. Let us so live, he writes, that we can die without regret. This is the goal, to live so fully, so completely, that when death comes, we are ready. We have said what needed to be said. We have done what needed to be done. We have loved and been loved. I have lived, Seneca imagines saying at the end. I have completed the course that fortune has set for me. This is the voice of a person at peace, a person who has made peace with life and with death, a person who has found tranquility. Seneca sets down his pen. The letter is complete. He will send it tomorrow. He blows out the candle and lies down on his bed. The room is dark and quiet. The sounds of the night surround him. He closes his eyes and lets sleep come. It comes easily, gently, like an old friend. Tomorrow will bring what it brings, but tonight there is only rest. Let us rest with Seneca once more. Let us share in his peace. The night passes. The stars wheel overhead. The moon rises and sets. And somewhere in the darkness, an old philosopher sleeps peacefully. Now let us continue our journey through Seneca's letters. There is still much wisdom to explore. In another letter, Seneca writes about the nature of time. This was one of his favorite subjects. He returned to it again and again, approaching it from different angles. We are not given a short life, he writes, but we make it short. We are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it. Time is our most precious resource. We cannot earn more of it. We cannot borrow against tomorrow. Each moment, once spent, is gone forever. And yet, we waste it so carelessly. We spend hours on things that do not matter. We lose days to worry about things that may never happen. We squander years in pursuit of things that will not bring us peace. Life is long if you know how to use it, Seneca says. The person who uses their time well will never complain that life is too short. They will have lived fully, deeply, completely. They will have no regrets. But the person who wastes their time will always feel that life is too short. No matter how many years they are given, it will never be enough. They will always be rushing, always be behind, always be dissatisfied. It is not that we have a short time to live, Seneca repeats, but that we waste a lot of it. How do we stop wasting time? By becoming aware of how we spend it, by examining our days and asking, was this worthwhile? Did this bring me closer to the person I want to be? Seneca recommends keeping a kind of time diary, not to become obsessive, but to become conscious, to notice where our time goes, to see the patterns. Let us balance life's books each day, he advises. When we do this, we often discover surprising things. We spend more time than we thought on trivial matters. We spend less time than we thought on important things. We are not living the life we imagined. This awareness is the first step toward change. Once we see where our time goes, we can redirect it. We can spend less on what does not matter and more on what does. Begin at once to live, Seneca urges. Count each separate day as a separate life. Each day is a new beginning. Each morning we wake up with a fresh supply of time. What will we do with it? The wise person treats each day as precious. They do not waste it on regret or worry. They do not postpone joy until tomorrow. They live fully, right here, right now. While we wait for life, Seneca warns, life passes. Do not wait. Do not postpone. Do not put off until tomorrow what you can do today. Tomorrow may never come. Today is all we have. Seneca thinks about all the people he knows who are always waiting. Waiting for retirement. Waiting for their children to grow up. Waiting for their circumstances to change. They lose the day in expectation of the night, he observes, and the night in fear of the dawn. These people are never present. They are always somewhere else in their minds. They miss the only time that actually exists, now. The present moment is all we have. The past is memory. The future is imagination. Only now is real. When we learn to live in the present, time seems to expand. Hours feel like days. Days feel like weeks. Life becomes rich and full. But when we live in the past or the future, time seems to contract. Hours fly by unnoticed. Days blur together. Life feels empty and rushed. True happiness is to enjoy the present, Seneca writes, without anxious dependence upon the future. This is the secret of a long life. Not more years, but more presence. Not more time, but more attention. The morning passes. Seneca continues his writing. The letters flow from his pen, one after another. He writes about the importance of focus. We cannot do everything. We must choose what matters most and give it our full attention. To be everywhere is to be nowhere, he warns. The person who tries to do too many things ends up doing nothing well. They scatter their energy across 100 projects and accomplish none of them. The wise person focuses. They choose a few important things and give them their all. They say no to distractions. They protect their time and attention. It is not the man who has too little, Seneca writes, but the man who craves more. That is poor. This applies to activities as well as possessions. The person who craves more experiences, more accomplishments, more stimulation, is poor in attention. They never fully enjoy anything because they are always thinking about the next thing. The person who is content with less is rich in attention. They fully enjoy what they have. They savor each experience. They are present. Seneca recommends simplifying life. Fewer possessions, fewer commitments, fewer distractions. This creates space for what matters. It is not the man who has too little, he repeats, but the man who craves more, that is poor. When we stop craving more, we discover that we already have enough. We already have everything we need to be happy. We just need to notice it. The afternoon comes. The sun moves across the sky. Seneca takes a break and walks in his garden. He moves slowly, mindfully. He notices the texture of the path beneath his feet. He notices the color of the flowers. He notices the play of light and shadow. This is the practice of presence. This is living in the now. This is what Seneca has been writing about. He pauses by a fountain. The water bubbles up from the earth and falls back down in a gentle cascade. It has been doing this for years, perhaps for centuries. It will continue long after Seneca is gone. He watches the water and feels at peace. There is something eternal about this moment. Something that transcends time. We are all part of a larger whole, he thinks. We are all connected to something greater than ourselves. This is the view from above. This is the perspective of philosophy. When we see ourselves as part of the larger order, our individual concerns seem smaller. Our fears seem less important. Our lives seem more meaningful. Seneca returns to his house and picks up his pen. There is more to write. He writes about the importance of accepting what we cannot change. This is one of the central teachings of his philosophy. There are things within our power, he says, and things beyond our power. Within our power are our thoughts, our attitudes, our actions. Beyond our power are external events, other people, the course of nature. When we focus on what is within our power, we feel empowered. When we focus on what is beyond our power, we feel helpless. Make the best use of what is in your power, Seneca advises, and take the rest as it happens. This is practical wisdom. It does not promise that everything will turn out well. It promises that we will be able to face whatever happens. When we accept what we cannot change, we stop struggling against reality. We stop wasting energy on futile resistance. We conserve our strength for what matters. It is not things that disturb us, Seneca writes, but our judgments about things. The same event can be experienced as a disaster or an opportunity, depending on how we interpret it. The wise person chooses interpretations that lead to peace. This does not mean denying reality. It does not mean pretending that bad things are good. It means finding the useful perspective. It means asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Difficulties strengthen the mind, Seneca writes, as labor does the body. Every challenge is an opportunity to become stronger. Every setback is a chance to develop resilience. The wise person welcomes difficulties as teachers. The evening comes again. The sun sets over Rome. Seneca watches from his window as he has watched so many times before. He thinks about all the sunsets he has seen, each one different, each one beautiful, each one a reminder of the passage of time. But he is not sad, he is grateful. Grateful for all the sunsets, grateful for all the days, grateful for this life. I have lived, he thinks. I have lived well. He lights a candle and sits at his desk. There is one more letter to write. He writes about gratitude. This is the foundation of happiness, he believes. Without gratitude, we can never be satisfied. With gratitude, we can always find joy. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, Seneca writes, but rejoices for those which he has. It is easy to focus on what we lack. Our minds are wired to notice problems, to see deficiencies. But this focus makes us miserable. The wise person redirects their attention. They focus on what they have, not what they lack. They count their blessings, not their troubles. True happiness is to enjoy the present, Seneca writes, without anxious dependence upon the future. When we are grateful for the present, we are happy now. We do not need to wait for something to change. We do not need to achieve something more. We are content with what is. This is not complacency. It is not giving up on improvement. It is simply appreciating what we have while we work toward what we want. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy, Seneca advises. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Gratitude extends to people as well as things. We should appreciate the friends who support us, the teachers who guide us, the strangers who show us kindness. When we express gratitude, we strengthen our relationships. We make others feel valued. We create a positive cycle of giving and receiving. Seneca sets down his pen. The letter is complete. He feels satisfied with what he has written. He blows out the candle and lies down on his bed. The room is dark and quiet. The sounds of the night surround him. He closes his eyes and lets sleep come. It comes easily, gently, like an old friend. Tomorrow will bring what it brings. But tonight there is only rest. Let us rest with Seneca once more. Let us share in his peace. The night passes. The stars wheel overhead. And somewhere in the darkness, an old philosopher sleeps peacefully, dreaming perhaps of the letters he has written, the wisdom he has shared, the friend who waits far away in Sicily. Now let us continue through more of Seneca's letters. The days pass, and he continues to write. In another letter, Seneca writes about the nature of wisdom. What is it? How do we acquire it? How do we know when we have it? Wisdom is not something that can be taught, he says. It must be discovered. We can read all the books in the world. We can listen to all the teachers. But wisdom does not come from outside. It comes from within. Books and teachers can point the way. They can offer guidance. But we must walk the path ourselves. We must discover the truth for ourselves. No man was ever wise by chance, Seneca writes. Wisdom requires effort. It requires practice. It requires the willingness to examine ourselves honestly and change what needs to be changed. The wise person is not born wise. They become wise through years of work. They make mistakes and learn from them. They face difficulties and grow stronger. The first step in wisdom, Seneca says, is to recognize what is false. Before we can see the truth, we must clear away the falsehoods, the beliefs that do not serve us, the assumptions that limit us, the stories we tell ourselves that are not true. This is difficult work. We are attached to our beliefs. We identify with our stories. Letting them go feels like losing part of ourselves. But it is necessary. We cannot fill a cup that is already full. We must empty ourselves of falsehood before we can be filled with truth. The mind that is anxious about the future is miserable, Seneca writes. One of the falsehoods we must release is the belief that we can control the future. We cannot. The future is uncertain. It will bring what it brings. When we accept this, we stop worrying. We stop trying to control what cannot be controlled. We focus on the present, where our power actually lies. True happiness is to enjoy the present, Seneca repeats, without anxious dependence upon the future. This is the teaching at the heart of his philosophy. Live now, be present, let go of what you cannot control. Find peace in this moment. The morning passes. Seneca continues his writing. The letters flow from his pen, one after another. He writes about the importance of virtue. This is the goal of philosophy, he believes. Not knowledge for its own sake, but virtue. Not understanding, but right action. Virtue is nothing else than right reason, he writes. When we act according to reason, we act virtuously. When we let our emotions control us, we act foolishly. But what is virtue? Seneca lists the traditional virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. These are the qualities of a good person. These are what we should cultivate. Wisdom is the ability to see clearly, to distinguish truth from falsehood, to know what is important and what is not. Courage is the ability to face fear, to do what is right even when it is difficult, to stand up for what we believe. Justice is the ability to treat others fairly, to give each person what they deserve, to recognize the dignity of every human being. Temperance is the ability to control ourselves, to resist temptation, to find the middle way between excess and deficiency. These virtues are interconnected. We cannot have one without the others. The truly virtuous person has all of them in balance. Virtue is its own reward, Seneca writes. We do not cultivate virtue for external rewards. We do not do good in order to be praised or rewarded. We do good because it is good, because it is who we want to be. The virtuous person finds satisfaction in virtue itself. They do not need applause. They do not need recognition. The knowledge that they have acted well is enough. The happy life is a life in accordance with virtue, Seneca says. When we live virtuously, we are at peace. We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to regret. We can look at ourselves in the mirror and be satisfied. The afternoon comes. The sun moves across the sky. Seneca takes a break and walks in his garden. He thinks about all the people he has known, the virtuous and the vicious, the wise and the foolish. He has learned from all of them. From the virtuous, he has learned what to emulate. From the vicious, he has learned what to avoid. Every person has been a teacher. There is no one who cannot teach us something, he reflects. Even the most foolish person can show us what not to do. Even the most wicked person can remind us of the importance of virtue. We can learn from everyone. Seneca returns to his house and picks up his pen. There is more to write. He writes about the importance of self-knowledge. We cannot improve ourselves if we do not know ourselves. We cannot change what we do not see. Know thyself, the ancient oracle advised. This is the beginning of wisdom, to look honestly at ourselves, to see our strengths and our weaknesses, to understand our patterns and our tendencies. Seneca recommends daily self-examination. Every evening, before sleep, we should review our day. What did we do well? What did we do poorly? How can we improve? The spirit ought to be brought up for examination daily, he writes. This is not self-criticism. It is not beating ourselves up for our mistakes. It is gentle, honest reflection. It is looking at ourselves with the same compassion we would show a friend. I examine my entire day, Seneca says, and go back over what I have done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. This practice, over time, leads to profound self-knowledge. We begin to see our patterns. We begin to understand why we do what we do. We begin to change. The first step toward improvement, Seneca writes, is to recognize our faults. We all have faults. We all have areas where we fall short. This is not shameful. It is human. The question is not whether we have faults. The question is whether we are working to improve them. The wise person is always growing, always learning, always becoming better. The evening comes again. The sun sets over Rome. Seneca watches from his window. He thinks about his own journey, all the years of study and practice, all the mistakes and corrections, all the slow, steady progress toward wisdom. He is not there yet. He knows this. He may never fully arrive, but he is closer than he was, and he is still moving forward. I am not yet wise, he admits, but I am making progress. This is all any of us can do. Make progress, move forward, become a little better each day. He lights a candle and sits at his desk. There is one more letter to write. He writes about the end of life, not with fear, but with acceptance. We should not fear death, he says, but prepare for it. Preparation does not mean dwelling on death. It means living so fully that when death comes, we are ready. We have no regrets. We have no unfinished business. Let us so live, Seneca writes, that we can die without regret. This is the goal, to live so completely that death holds no terror, to have said what needed to be said, to have done what needed to be done, to have loved and been loved. I have lived, Seneca imagines saying at the end. I have completed the course that fortune has set for me. This is the voice of a person at peace, a person who has made peace with life and with death, a person who has found tranquility. Seneca sets down his pen. The letter is complete. He blows out the candle and lies down on his bed. The room is dark and quiet. The sounds of the night surround him. He closes his eyes and lets sleep come. It comes easily, gently, like an old friend. Tomorrow will bring what it brings, but tonight there is only rest. Let us rest with Seneca once more. Let us share in his peace. The night passes, the stars wheel overhead, and somewhere in the darkness, an old philosopher sleeps peacefully. Now let us continue through the final letters. The end is approaching, but there is still wisdom to share. In one of his last letters, Seneca writes about the nature of the soul. This was a subject that had always fascinated him. The soul is not contained in the body, he writes. The body is contained in the soul. We are not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Our true nature is not the body, but the soul. This soul, Seneca believed, is connected to something larger. It is part of the universal reason that governs all things. It is a spark of the divine fire. There is a sacred spirit within us, he writes, an observer and guardian of our good and bad actions. This inner witness sees everything we do. It knows our thoughts, our motives, our secrets. We cannot hide from it. When we live in accordance with this inner spirit, we are at peace. When we violate it, we suffer. Not because of external punishment, but because of internal discord. The greatest punishment for wrongdoing, Seneca says, is having done it. The guilty conscience is its own punishment. The person who has acted badly carries their guilt with them everywhere. They cannot escape it. But the person who has acted well carries their virtue with them. They have nothing to hide. They are at peace. A good conscience is a soft pillow, Seneca writes. The person with a clear conscience sleeps well. They are not troubled by guilt or regret. They can face themselves honestly. Seneca thinks about his own conscience. He has not always acted well. He has made mistakes. He has done things he regrets, but he has tried to learn from his mistakes. He has tried to make amends. He has tried to become better. I'm not perfect, he admits, but I am trying. This is all any of us can do. Try, make the effort, do our best. The morning passes. Seneca continues his writing. The letters flow from his pen, one after another. He writes about the importance of legacy, not the legacy of wealth or fame, but the legacy of wisdom. What we leave behind is not as important as how we lived, he says. The wise person does not worry about being remembered. They focus on living well. They know that a life well lived is its own reward, but they also know that their example can help others. Their words can guide others. Their wisdom can live on. The day will come when someone will read my words, Seneca writes, and find comfort in them. He does not know who this person will be. He does not know when or where they will live. But he trusts that his words will reach them. And they have. Across 2,000 years, Seneca's words have reached us. They have comforted countless readers. They have guided countless seekers. This is the true legacy, not monuments or statues, but wisdom passed from generation to generation. Not fame, but influence. Not being remembered, but being helpful. I am speaking to you across the centuries, Seneca writes to his unknown readers. I am your friend, though we have never met. This is the power of writing. It transcends time. It connects human hearts across the ages. It makes the dead speak to the living. The afternoon comes. The sun moves across the sky. Seneca takes a break and walks in his garden for the last time. He moves slowly, savoring each step. He notices everything: the texture of the bark, the color of the leaves, the song of the birds. He knows that his time is short. He has received word that the emperor has ordered his death. He must take his own life before the day is out. But he is not afraid. He is prepared for this moment his whole life. He has thought about death so often that it holds no terror. The day which we fear as our last, he reminds himself, is but the birthday of eternity. Death is not the end. It is a transformation. What comes after, Seneca does not claim to know. But he trusts that it is part of the natural order. And the natural order is good. He returns to his house and gathers his friends around him. They are weeping, but he is calm. "Do not grieve for me," he tells them. "I have lived a good life. I have no regrets." He speaks to them of philosophy. He reminds them of the teachings they have shared. He encourages them to continue their studies. "Remember what I have taught you," he says. "Live according to reason. Cultivate virtue. Find peace within yourselves." His friends nod through their tears. They will remember. They will carry his wisdom forward. Seneca takes a final drink of water. He looks around the room at the faces of his friends. He feels love for them and gratitude. "Thank you," he says. "Thank you for everything." Then he opens his veins and lets his life flow out. It is a slow death, but he bears it with courage. He continues to speak, to teach, to comfort his friends. Finally, his voice grows weak, his eyes close, his breathing stops. Seneca is gone. But his words remain, his letters survive, his wisdom lives on. And tonight, 2,000 years later, we are reading his words. We are finding comfort in them. We are learning from them. This is his legacy. This is what he left behind. Not wealth or fame, but wisdom. Not monuments, but meaning. And it is enough. It is more than enough. It is everything. Let us sit with this for a moment. Let us honor the memory of this wise man who lived so long ago. He was not perfect. He made mistakes. He had flaws. But he tried. He made the effort. He did his best. And in the end, that is all any of us can do. Now let us return to the present. Let us bring Seneca's wisdom into our own lives. What can we learn from his letters? What can we apply to our own situations? First, we can learn to value our time. Time is our most precious resource. We cannot earn more of it. We cannot borrow against tomorrow. Each moment, once spent, is gone forever. Let us use our time wisely. Let us spend it on things that matter. Let us not waste it on worry or regret. Second, we can learn to live in the present. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. Only now is real. Let us be present. Let us pay attention to this moment. Let us find joy in the simple things. Third, we can learn to accept what we cannot change. There are things within our power and things beyond our power. Let us focus on what we can control and let go of the rest. Fourth, we can learn to cultivate virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. These are the qualities of a good person. Let us work to develop them. Fifth, we can learn to find peace within ourselves. True happiness does not come from external things. It comes from within. Let us cultivate inner peace. Let us find contentment with what we have. Let us stop chasing what we do not need. These are the lessons of Seneca's letters. They are simple, but not easy. They require practice. They require patience. They require persistence. But they lead to tranquility. They lead to peace. They lead to a life well lived. And that is what we all want in the end. Not wealth or fame or power, just peace, just contentment, just the quiet satisfaction of a life well lived. Seneca found this peace. He offers it to us through his letters. All we have to do is accept it. The night deepens around us. The stars shine overhead. The world grows quiet. Let us rest now. Let us let go of our worries and our fears. Let us find the peace that Seneca found. Tomorrow will bring what it brings, but tonight there is only rest. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Let your body relax. You are safe. You are at peace. You are exactly where you need to be. The wisdom of the ages surrounds you. The words of Seneca comfort you. The peace of the philosophers envelops you. Let sleep come. Let it wash over you like a gentle wave. Let it carry you to a place of deep rest. You have done enough today. You have been enough today. Now it is time to rest. The candle flickers and goes out. The room is dark and quiet. Only the sounds of the night remain. And somewhere, across the centuries, an old philosopher smiles. His words have reached you. His wisdom has touched you. His legacy lives on. Sleep now. Rest now. Peace now. The night is long and gentle. The stars wheel overhead. And you drift into sleep, comforted by the wisdom of the ages. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, there is only rest. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The letters of Seneca have guided you to this moment. His words have calmed your mind. His wisdom has eased your heart. You are not alone. You are connected to something larger. You are part of the great chain of seekers stretching back through the centuries. Seneca is with you. His spirit lives on in his words. His peace is yours to share. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The night deepens. The world grows still, and you drift into the gentle darkness at peace. This is tranquility. This is what Seneca wrote about. This is what he found. And now it is yours. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The letters are complete. The wisdom has been shared. The night has come. And you are at peace. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The stars shine overhead. The moon rises and sets. The world turns on its axis. And you sleep, deeply, peacefully, completely. This is the gift of Seneca. This is the gift of philosophy. This is the gift of wisdom. Peace. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The night passes. The hours drift by. And you remain in that place of deep rest, undisturbed by the world. Tomorrow will come. The sun will rise. A new day will begin. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, there is only rest. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The wisdom of the ages cradles you. The peace of the philosophers surrounds you. The love of all who have sought truth embraces you. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are part of something greater. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The letters of Seneca have done their work. They have calmed your mind. They have eased your heart. They have guided you to this place of rest. And here you will stay until the morning comes. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The night is long and gentle. The darkness is soft and warm, and you drift through it at peace. This is what Seneca wanted for Lucilius. This is what he wants for you. Peace, tranquility, rest. And now it is yours. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The words fade. The thoughts dissolve. Only peace remains. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. And so the night passes, gentle and still. And so you sleep, deep and peaceful. And so the wisdom of Seneca lives on, comforting another seeker, guiding another soul. This is his legacy. This is his gift. This is what remains. Peace. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The night embraces you. The silence surrounds you. The peace fills you. And you sleep. Deeply. Peacefully. Completely. Rest now. Sleep now. Peace now. The letters are done. The wisdom is shared. The night is here. And you are at peace. Rest. Sleep. Peace. Now. Deep Sleep. Studios. Letters on Tranquility of Mind. Part 4. The Continuing Journey. Continuation of Script. And so our journey continues, dear traveller, as the path winds ever deeper into this landscape of ancient wisdom. The ground beneath your feet has grown softer now, cushioned by centuries of fallen pine needles and the gentle accumulation of peaceful thoughts left behind by those who walked this way before you. The afternoon light has shifted into something richer, warmer, more golden. It filters through the canopy above in long, diagonal shafts that seem almost solid enough to touch. Dust motes drift lazily through these columns of illumination, tiny dancers performing for no audience, content simply to exist in their moment of visibility before returning to the invisible air. As you walk, you notice that the forest around you has begun to change. The trees here are older, their trunks wider, their bark more deeply furrowed with the record of passing years. Some of these giants have stood in this place for 500 years or more, weathering storms and droughts, seasons of abundance and seasons of scarcity. Yet they remain rooted, stable, present. Seneca wrote about such constancy in his letters. He spoke of how the wise person develops roots that reach deep into the earth of their own values, their own understanding, their own carefully cultivated peace. These roots do not prevent growth or movement, but they provide an anchor, a center from which all growth extends and to which the spirit can always return. Between two of these ancient trees, you discover something unexpected, a small wooden bench, weathered to silver grey by years of exposure to the elements, yet still sturdy, still welcoming. Someone placed this bench here long ago, perhaps for this very purpose, perhaps simply because they recognized that this spot, with its view of the forest stretching away in all directions, was a place worth pausing. You sit down, and the bench accepts your weight with a soft creak of greeting. From here, you can see the path continuing ahead, but there is no urgency to follow it. The journey will wait. The wisdom will wait. Everything that matters will still be there when you are ready to continue. This is another of Seneca's teachings, one that modern life makes it so easy to forget: the importance of pause. We rush from task to task, from obligation to obligation, from one demand on our attention to the next, as though stillness were a kind of failure, as though rest were merely the absence of productivity rather than a vital activity in its own right. But Seneca understood that the mind, like a field, requires periods of fallow rest to remain fertile. He wrote to his friend Lucilius about the necessity of withdrawal, of stepping back from the constant motion of daily life to allow the soul to settle, to clarify, to remember what truly matters. As you rest on this bench, let your own thoughts settle like sediment in still water. You do not need to force clarity. You do not need to solve any problems or make any decisions. You simply need to be here, present in this moment, allowing whatever arises to arise and whatever passes to pass. The forest around you is full of small sounds that you might not have noticed while walking. A woodpecker taps somewhere in the distance, its rhythm steady and purposeful. Leaves rustle as a squirrel moves through the upper branches, going about its business of gathering and storing. A stream murmurs somewhere nearby, its voice soft but persistent, a conversation with the stones it has been having for longer than human memory. These sounds do not disturb the peace of this place. They are part of it, woven into the fabric of the forest's tranquility like threads of different colors in a tapestry. True peace, Seneca taught, is not the absence of activity or sound, but a quality of presence that can exist alongside movement, alongside noise, alongside the full complexity of life. When you feel ready, you rise from the bench and continue along the path. Your legs feel rested, your mind feels clearer, and the way ahead seems somehow more inviting than it did before. This is the gift of pause, the renewal that comes from allowing yourself to simply stop, even briefly, even in the midst of a journey. The meadow of small pleasures. The forest begins to thin, and soon you emerge into a meadow unlike any you have seen before. It stretches before you in gentle undulations, covered not with a single type of grass, but with hundreds of different plants, each one contributing its own shade of green, its own texture, its own particular beauty to the whole. Wildflowers dot this meadow in seemingly random patterns that somehow feel perfectly arranged. There are purple coneflowers standing tall on sturdy stems, their petals drooping slightly like the brims of elegant hats. There are black-eyed Susans with their golden rays surrounding dark centres, cheerful and unpretentious. There are delicate blue forget-me-nots clustered in small groups, as though they prefer each other's company. There are white daisies and pink clover and yellow buttercups and orange hawkweed, a celebration of colour that asks nothing in return for its display. Seneca wrote extensively about pleasure, though not in the way you might expect. He was not opposed to enjoyment, not an advocate for grim austerity or the rejection of all that is pleasant. Rather, he taught that the key to a tranquil life lies in understanding which pleasures nourish us and which ones ultimately leave us more empty than before. The pleasures of this meadow are of the nourishing kind. They ask nothing from you. They do not require money or status or the approval of others. They do not create craving or dependency. They simply offer themselves freely and completely to anyone who takes the time to notice them. As you walk through this meadow, you feel the soft brush of grass against your ankles. You smell the subtle sweetness of flowers warmed by the sun. You hear the drowsy hum of bees moving from bloom to bloom, conducting their ancient business of pollination, turning nectar into honey through processes that seem almost magical in their elegant efficiency. A butterfly crosses your path, its wings painted in patterns of orange and black. It lands on a purple flower just ahead of you, and you stop to watch as it uncurls its long, delicate tongue to drink. There is something almost unbearably beautiful about this small creature, this brief life dedicated entirely to the pursuit of sweetness and the continuation of its kind. Seneca would have appreciated this butterfly. He wrote about how the wise person learns to find joy in small things, in the everyday miracles that most people overlook in their pursuit of grander satisfactions. The person who can take genuine pleasure in a butterfly, in a flower, in the warmth of sunlight on skin, possesses a wealth that no external circumstance can diminish. The meadow slopes gently upward, and as you climb, you begin to see farther. The forest you emerge from spreads behind you like a green ocean. Ahead, the meadow continues for some distance before giving way to another landscape, one you will explore soon enough. But for now, this meadow is enough. This moment is enough. This simple pleasure of walking through flowers under a gentle sky is more than enough. You come upon a small rise in the center of the meadow, and here you find a flat stone, warm from the sun, perfectly sized for sitting. You settle onto it and let the warmth seep into you from below, while the sun continues to warm you from above. You are held between these two sources of heat, like something precious, something worth keeping warm. From this vantage point, you can see the meadow spreading in all directions, a sea of green and colour that moves in slow waves as the breeze passes through. You can see the butterflies and bees going about their work. You can see the distant trees standing patient at the meadow's edges. You can see the sky above, blue and deep and scattered with clouds that drift like thoughts across the mind of the world. Seneca wrote about the importance of perspective, of stepping back from our immediate concerns to see them in a larger context. From where you sit now, any worries you carried into this meadow seem smaller, not because they're or say have changed, but because you can see them more clearly against the vast backdrop of existence. Your problems are real, but they are not the whole of reality. Your struggles matter, but they are part of a much larger story, one that includes butterflies and flowers and warm stones and gentle breezes. This is not a dismissal of difficulty. Seneca never taught that we should pretend our challenges do not exist, or that we should suppress our natural responses to hardship. Rather, he taught that we can hold our difficulties more lightly when we remember that they are not the only truth, that beauty and peace exist alongside struggle, that the meadow is always here, waiting for us to notice it. The ancient orchard. Leaving the meadow, you follow a path that leads through a gap in a low stone wall, the kind of wall that farmers built centuries ago to mark boundaries and keep livestock contained. The stones are covered with lichen in shades of grey and green and orange, tiny ecosystems thriving on these surfaces that might seem barren to a casual observer. Beyond the wall, you find yourself in an orchard of ancient fruit trees. These are not the neat, uniform rows of a commercial operation, but a wilder, older kind of planting. Trees that have grown according to their own nature for generation after generation. Their trunks are gnarled and twisted, their branches reaching in unexpected directions, their bark rough and deeply textured. Some of these trees bear apples, small and imperfect but fragrant, with a sweetness that commercial varieties have lost in their pursuit of size and uniformity. Others bear pears, their fruit hanging heavy and golden in the afternoon light. Still others bear plums or cherries or fruits you cannot quite identify. The legacy of gardeners long gone who planted with hope for harvests they might never see. Seneca wrote about legacy, about the relationship between our present actions and the future they create. He noted that those who plant trees are engaging in an act of faith, a belief that the future matters even though they may not be present to see it. The person who plants an apple tree knowing they will never taste, its fruit has achieved a kind of wisdom, a freedom from the tyranny of immediate gratification. Walking through this orchard, you are surrounded by the fruits of such wisdom. Every tree here represents someone's hope, someone's labor, someone's gift to a future they could only imagine. And now, you are that future, walking among these gifts, benefiting from the foresight of people whose names you will never know. This is how wisdom works across time. Seneca wrote his letters 2,000 years ago, planting seeds of insight that he could not know would still be bearing fruit in our age. The philosophers who taught him planted their own seeds, which grew into the understanding he passed on. And perhaps something you learn today, some small shift in perspective or deepening of peace, will be passed on to others, seeds you plant without knowing what harvest they might eventually produce. The orchard is alive with birdsong. Finches and sparrows flit among the branches, feasting on insects and seeds. A pair of cardinals, brilliant red against the green leaves, chase each other in what might be play or courtship or some combination of both. Their calls ring out clear and sharp, punctuation marks in the ongoing sentence of the afternoon. You find a tree whose branches curve low to the ground, creating a natural shelter beneath its canopy. The grass here is soft and thick, shaded from the strongest sun, a perfect place to rest. You lie down and look up through the branches at the sky beyond, watching the leaves move against the blue, listening to the birds, feeling the solid earth supporting you from below. Seneca wrote about the earth as our ultimate home, the place from which we come and to which we will return. He found comfort in this connection, this reminder that we are part of something much larger than our individual lives. The atoms that make up your body were once part of stars, part of ancient seas, part of countless other beings who lived and died and returned their substance to the great cycle of existence. Lying here beneath this apple tree, you are connected to all of it. The tree's roots reach into the same earth that supports you. The air you breathe is the same air the tree breathes, a constant exchange that binds you together in mutual sustenance. The sunlight that warms you is the same sunlight the tree uses to transform water and carbon dioxide into the sugars that fuel its growth. You are not separate from this place. You are part of it, as it is part of you. The reflecting pools. Rising from your rest beneath the apple tree, you continue through the orchard until you reach its far edge. Here, the land begins to change again, sloping gently downward toward a series of pools that catch the afternoon light and throw it back in shimmering reflections. These pools are fed by a small spring that emerges from a rocky outcropping, the water appearing from the earth as though by magic, clear and cold and constant. The spring has been flowing here for thousands of years, long before any human eye observed it, and it will likely continue flowing long after the last human has gone. There is something deeply reassuring about this constancy, this reminder that some things endure beyond all our temporary concerns. The pools are arranged in a descending series, each one slightly lower than the last, connected by small waterfalls that fill the air with their gentle music. The water in each pool is so clear that you can see the bottom perfectly, every stone and pebble visible, every small fish that darts through the depths on display. Seneca wrote about clarity of mind as one of the chief goals of philosophical practice. Just as these pools allow you to see clearly to their depths, a tranquil mind allows you to see clearly into yourself, to understand your own thoughts and motivations, to recognize the patterns that shape your behavior. This clarity is not always comfortable, but it is always valuable, for it is only by seeing ourselves clearly that we can hope to change what needs changing and accept what needs accepting. You kneel beside the first pool and look into its depths. Your reflection looks back at you, wavering slightly with the movement of the water, but recognizable, familiar. This is you, this face that has carried you through all the days of your life, that has smiled and frowned and wept and laughed, that has aged gradually in ways you barely notice until you see an old photograph and wonder where the time has gone. Seneca wrote about the passage of time with a mixture of urgency and acceptance. He urged his readers not to waste their days, not to postpone living until some future moment that might never arrive. But he also taught acceptance of time's passage, recognition that aging and change are natural parts of existence, not enemies to be fought, but realities to be embraced. Looking at your reflection, you might notice the marks that time has left on your face. Perhaps there are lines around your eyes, traces of all the times you have squinted against bright sun, or smiled at something that delighted you. Perhaps there are threads of grey in your hair, evidence of the years you have accumulated, each one a gift that not everyone receives. These marks are not flaws. They are records written in the language of the body, of a life being lived. You dip your hand into the pool, and the water is cool against your skin. Your reflection shatters into 1,000 fragments, each one catching the light differently, and then slowly reforms as the water stills. This is how the mind works when disturbed by strong emotion or unexpected events. It fragments, loses its clarity, shows us a distorted version of ourselves and the world. But if we can wait, if we can allow the disturbance to pass without adding to it with our reactions, clarity returns. The reflection reforms. We can see ourselves again. Moving to the second pool, you find that it is slightly larger and deeper than the first. Looking into it, you can see not just your reflection on the surface, but also the depths below, the stones and plants and small creatures that make their home in this water. It is possible to look at both levels simultaneously, to see the surface and the depths at once, and this too is a kind of wisdom. Seneca taught that we should live on multiple levels, attending to both the immediate surface of our lives and the deeper currents that flow beneath. The surface is where we interact with the world, where we fulfill our responsibilities and engage with others. But the depths are where we find meaning, where we connect with values that transcend the daily round of tasks and obligations. A life lived only on the surface is shallow and ultimately unsatisfying. A life lived only in the depths loses touch with practical reality. The wise person learns to inhabit both levels, moving between them as circumstances require. The third pool is the largest of all, and here the water is deep enough that you cannot see the bottom. The surface reflects the sky so perfectly that it seems like a window into another world, a world where clouds drift below you and the blue goes on forever. If you did not know better, you might think you could step through this window and fall upward into that reflected sky. This is the pool of mystery, of the things we cannot know or see clearly, no matter how hard we try. Seneca was honest about the limits of human understanding. He did not claim to have all the answers, did not pretend that philosophy could solve every puzzle or resolve every uncertainty. Some things remain hidden, he taught, and wisdom includes knowing when to stop seeking and simply accept the mystery. There is peace in this acceptance, the need to understand everything, to have answers for every question, to resolve every uncertainty is a burden that grows heavier the more we carry it. Setting it down, even partially, even temporarily, brings a kind of relief that is difficult to describe but immediately recognizable when experienced. You sit beside this deepest pool and watch the clouds drift across its surface. You do not need to understand everything about this place, about your life, about the nature of existence. You do not need to have all the answers. You simply need to be here, present to this moment, open to whatever it offers. This is enough. This has always been enough. The Garden of Evening. The sun has moved lower in the sky, and the light has taken on that particular quality that comes in the hours before sunset, when everything seems to glow from within, when shadows grow long and soft, when the world prepares itself for the transition into night. Following a path that leads away from the reflecting pools, you find yourself entering a garden unlike any you have seen before. This is not a formal garden with rigid beds and geometric patterns, nor is it a wild garden left entirely to nature's whims. It is something in between, a place where human intention and natural growth have found a balance, each shaping the other in an ongoing conversation. The plants here are arranged in flowing curves that lead the eye gently from one area to the next. There are tall grasses that catch the evening light and seem to glow golden. There are flowering shrubs in shades of pink and white and deep purple. There are ground covers that spread in soft carpets, cushioning the earth and providing homes for countless small creatures. Seneca wrote about the art of living as similar to the art of gardening. Both require attention and effort, but both also require knowing when to step back and let natural processes unfold. The gardener who tries to control everything, who cannot tolerate a single weed or an unplanned growth, creates a sterile space that lacks the vitality of true beauty. The gardener who neglects everything, who provides no guidance or care, ends up with chaos rather than a garden. Wisdom lies in finding the middle way, in knowing when to act and when to refrain from acting, when to shape and when to accept. As you walk through this garden, you notice that it is full of small seating areas, places where someone has placed a bench or a chair or simply arranged stones in a way that invites sitting. These are places for pause, for contemplation, for the kind of quiet reflection that Seneca valued so highly. You choose one of these spots, a simple wooden chair positioned to face the western sky, where the sun is now approaching the horizon. The chair is comfortable, worn smooth by years of use, shaped by all the bodies that have rested in it before yours. You settle into it and feel held, supported, welcomed. The evening light paints the garden in colours that seem almost too beautiful to be real. The greens deepen toward emerald. The flowers seem to intensify their hues, as though making one last effort to be seen before the darkness comes. The sky begins its slow transformation from blue to gold to orange to pink. A display that happens every evening yet never loses its power to move those who take the time to watch. Seneca wrote about the importance of attention, of truly seeing what is before us rather than rushing past in pursuit of something else. He noted how most people miss the beauty that surrounds them, not because it is hidden, but because they are not looking. The sunset happens whether we watch it or not, but something is lost when we fail to witness it, some opportunity for wonder and gratitude that will not come again in exactly the same way. So you watch. You give this sunset your full attention, not trying to capture it or analyze it or compare it to other sunsets, simply receiving it as the gift it is. The colors shift and change, moment by moment, never quite the same from one breath to the next. the clouds catch fire and then fade to ash. The first stars begin to appear in the deepening blue of the eastern sky. This is the day's ending, and there is something profound about witnessing it consciously, about being present for this transition from light to darkness. Seneca wrote about each day as a complete life in miniature, with its own birth at dawn, its own activities and challenges and joys, its own death at nightfall. To live each day fully, he taught, is to practice for the larger life that contains all our days, to learn the art of beginning and ending with grace. The garden around you settles into evening. The birds quiet their songs, finding their roosts for the night. The flowers begin to close their petals, protecting their precious centers from the cool night air. The insects that were active during the day give way to the creatures of the night, moths and owls and small mammals that prefer the cover of darkness. You remain in your chair, watching the last light fade from the sky. There is no need to move yet. The darkness is not something to fear, but something to welcome, a necessary counterpart to the light, a time for rest and restoration and the quiet work of dreams. The Night Garden. As true darkness settles over the garden, you discover that it has not become invisible, but has simply revealed a different kind of beauty. The moon has risen, nearly full, casting a silver light that transforms everything it touches. The garden you walked through in the evening light is still here, but it has become something else, a place of mystery and shadow and unexpected illumination. The white flowers that seemed modest during the day now glow like small moons themselves, reflecting the moonlight with an intensity that draws the eye. The pale grasses shimmer silver, the dark leaves create pools of shadow that seem to hold secrets. Everything is the same and everything is different, and this too is a teaching. Seneca wrote about how our perception shapes our reality, how the same situation can appear completely different depending on our state of mind, our expectations, our willingness to see. The garden has not changed, but the light has changed, and so the garden appears transformed. In the same way, our lives can be transformed not by changing our circumstances, but by changing how we see them, by bringing a different quality of attention to the same familiar elements. You rise from your chair and begin to walk through the night garden, moving slowly, allowing your eyes to adjust to the darkness, discovering the beauty that only reveals itself when the sun is gone. The air is cooler now, carrying scents that were hidden during the heat of the day. The sweet fragrance of night-blooming flowers, the green smell of dew beginning to form on leaves, the earthy aroma of soil releasing the warmth it absorbed during the daylight hours. The sounds have changed too. The daytime chorus of birds has been replaced by the night music of crickets and frogs, a constant background hum that rises and falls in waves as though the darkness itself were breathing. Occasionally, an owl calls from somewhere in the trees beyond the garden, a low, resonant sound that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Seneca wrote about the night as a time for reflection, for turning inward, for examining the day that has passed and preparing the mind for the day to come. He practiced what he called an evening review, a time of quiet contemplation in which he would consider his actions and thoughts, noting where he had fallen short of his ideals and where he had succeeded, always with compassion rather than harsh judgment. As you walk through this night garden, you might engage in your own gentle review. Not a harsh accounting of failures and shortcomings, but a kind and curious examination of how you have spent your attention, your energy, your precious hours. Where did you find peace today? Where did you lose it? What moments brought you closer to the person you want to be? What moments pulled you away? This review is not meant to produce guilt or shame. Seneca was clear that such emotions are rarely useful and often harmful. The purpose is simply to see clearly, to learn from experience, to make small adjustments that accumulate over time into significant change. The person who reflects honestly each evening, who learns from each day's experiences, who approaches themselves with curiosity rather than condemnation, will gradually become wiser, calmer, more aligned with their deepest values. You come to a part of the garden where a small fountain plays, its water catching the moonlight and scattering it in all directions. The sound of the fountain is different at night, more prominent without the competition of daytime sounds, a gentle splashing that seems to speak of patience and persistence, of the way water shapes stone, not through force, but through constant, gentle presence. Seneca used water as a metaphor for the philosophical life. He wrote about how wisdom flows into the mind gradually, drop by drop, filling the vessel of the self over time. We cannot force this process, cannot rush it, cannot make it happen through sheer will. We can only create the conditions for it, only keep ourselves open and receptive, only return again and again to the practices and teachings that nourish our growth. You sit beside the fountain and let its sound wash over you. The moonlight plays on the water, creating patterns that shift and change with every splash. You feel the coolness of the night air on your skin. You smell the wet stone and the night flowers, and the particular freshness that comes when the world has cooled from the heat of day. This is peace. Not the absence of difficulty, not the resolution of every problem, not the achievement of every goal, but this: presence in a moment of beauty, awareness of the gift of existence, gratitude for the simple fact of being alive and conscious in a world that contains fountains and moonlight and the sound of water falling. The path of stars. Leaving the fountain, you find a path that leads out of the garden and into an open area where the sky spreads above you in its full nighttime glory. Away from any artificial light, the stars are visible in numbers that city dwellers rarely see, a vast sprinkling of light across the dark dome of the heavens. Seneca wrote about the stars with a mixture of wonder and philosophical reflection. He saw in them evidence of the vast scale of the universe, the immensity of creation compared to which human concerns are vanishingly small. But rather than finding this diminishing, he found it liberating. When we recognize how small our problems are in the cosmic scale, we can hold them more lightly, can see them in proper proportion, can free ourselves from the tyranny of treating every difficulty as though it were a matter of universal importance. You lie down on the soft grass and look up at the sky. The stars seem close enough to touch, yet you know they are impossibly distant, their light travelling for years or centuries or millennia to reach your eyes. Some of the stars you see may no longer exist, their light a message from the past, a ghost of something that has already ended. This is the nature of our perception of the universe. We always see the past. The light from the sun takes 8 minutes to reach us. The light from the nearest star takes 4 years. The light from distant galaxies takes millions or billions of years. We are always looking backward, always seeing things as they were rather than as they are. Seneca would have found this thought-provoking. He wrote extensively about time, about how we misunderstand its nature, about how we waste the present by living in the past or the future. Yet here is the universe itself, showing us that the past is always with us, that what has been continues to influence what is, that time is more complex and mysterious than our everyday experience suggests. The Milky Way stretches across the sky, a river of light composed of billions of stars, too distant to see individually. You are looking at the galaxy from inside, seeing the disk of stars that contains our solar system, our planet, this very spot where you lie watching. You are part of this galaxy, made of the same elements that make up those distant stars, connected to all of it in ways that science is only beginning to understand. Seneca did not have our modern knowledge of astronomy, but he intuited something similar. He wrote about how all things are connected, how the universe is a single living whole of which we are parts. This was not just a poetic fancy, but a philosophical principle with practical implications. If we are connected to all things, then our actions affect all things. If we are part of a larger whole, then our well-being is tied to the well-being of that whole. The boundaries we draw between self and other, between human and nature, between individual and cosmos, are useful fictions, but not ultimate truths. Lying here under the stars, you can feel this connection. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of stars that exploded billions of years ago. The oxygen you breathe was produced by ancient plants that lived and died long before any human existed. The water in your cells has cycled through countless forms, has been rain and river and ocean and cloud, has been drunk by dinosaurs and evaporated from prehistoric seas. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, become conscious of itself, looking up at the stars and wondering. A shooting star crosses the sky, a brief streak of light that appears and disappears in less than a second. This is a piece of cosmic debris, a fragment of rock or ice that has travelled through space for millions of years, only to end its journey in a flash of light above this very spot where you happen to be watching. What are the odds of this alignment, of your presence here at this exact moment to witness this particular shooting star? Astronomical, in the literal sense. Yet here you are. Here it was. Seneca wrote about fate and chance, about the way our lives are shaped by forces beyond our control. He did not find this troubling. Instead, he found it freeing. If so much is beyond our control, then we can release our grip on outcomes, can focus instead on what is within our power, our attitudes, our responses, our choices about how to meet whatever circumstances arise. The shooting star is gone, but its image remains in your memory. You will carry this moment with you, this night under the stars, this brief flash of light across the darkness. It will become part of you, woven into the fabric of your experience, influencing who you are in ways you may never fully understand. The return to dawn. Time passes differently under the stars. You may have been lying here for minutes or hours. It is difficult to tell and does not seem to matter. But gradually, you become aware of a change in the quality of the darkness. The eastern horizon has begun to lighten, almost imperceptibly at first, then more noticeably as the first hints of dawn approach. Seneca wrote about dawn as a time of renewal, of fresh beginnings, of the chance to start again that each new day offers. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter what mistakes were made or opportunities missed, the dawn brings a clean slate, a new chapter, another chance to live according to our highest values. You sit up and watch as the sky transforms. The stars begin to fade, not all at once, but gradually, the dimmest ones disappearing first, then the brighter ones, until only the morning star remains, a single point of light in the brightening sky. The horizon shifts from black to deep blue to purple to pink to gold, a reversal of the sunset you watched earlier, the day being born as you witnessed the day dying. The birds begin to wake and sing, first one, then another, then a chorus that builds and builds until the air is full of their voices. They are greeting the new day, announcing their presence, claiming their territories, seeking their mates. Their song is ancient and instinctive, unchanged for millions of years, a connection to a past so deep that human history is just a moment within it. You rise and stretch, feeling your body wake up, feeling the stiffness of the night begin to ease as you move. The grass is wet with dew, and your feet leave dark prints as you walk. The world smells fresh and new, washed clean by the night, ready for whatever the day will bring. Seneca wrote about approaching each day with intention, with a clear sense of purpose, with awareness of what truly matters. He did not mean that we should fill every moment with frantic activity or burden ourselves with impossible expectations. He meant that we should be present to our lives, should engage fully with whatever we are doing, should not sleepwalk through our days as though they were merely obstacles to be endured. As this new day begins, you have the opportunity to practice this presence. You can choose to notice the beauty around you, to engage fully with the people you encounter, to bring your best self to whatever tasks await. You can choose to let go of yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's worries, to focus on this moment, this breath, this step. The sun clears the horizon, and the world is suddenly filled with light. The night garden has become a day garden again, the same flowers and paths and fountains revealed in their daytime beauty. Everything is familiar, and everything is new because you are seeing it with fresh eyes, with the eyes of someone who has journeyed through the night and emerged into the morning. The final teaching. As you stand in the light of this new day, surrounded by the beauty of the garden, filled with the peace of your nighttime journey, one final teaching from Seneca comes to mind. It is perhaps the most important teaching of all, the one that underlies and supports all the others. Seneca wrote that the goal of philosophy is not to accumulate knowledge, but to transform the way we live. All the ideas and insights, all the metaphors and examples, all the letters and essays and dialogues are worthless if they do not change how we actually experience our lives. Philosophy is not a spectator sport. It is a practice, a discipline, a way of being in the world. The tranquility that Seneca wrote about is not a destination to be reached, but a practice to be cultivated. It is not something that happens to us, but something we do, moment by moment, choice by choice, day by day. We will lose it and find it again, forget it and remember it, wander away from it and return. This is not failure. This is the practice. The landscape you have travelled through tonight, the forest and the meadow, the orchard and the pools, the gardens of evening and night, the path of stars, all of it has been a mirror for your own inner landscape. The peace you found here is not separate from you. It is you, the deepest part of you, the part that remains calm beneath all the surface turbulence, the part that knows how to rest even when the mind is busy, the part that remembers what truly matters even when daily life conspires to make you forget. You can return to this place whenever you need to. Close your eyes and you are here, walking the forest path, sitting by the reflecting pools, watching the stars wheel overhead. This landscape lives within you now, a resource you can draw on, a reminder of what is possible, a sanctuary that no external circumstance can take away. Seneca wrote his letters to help his friend Lucilius, but he also wrote them for himself as a way of clarifying his own thoughts, reinforcing his own practice, reminding himself of truths he already knew but needed to hear again. In the same way, this journey has been for you, a gift you have given yourself, a time of renewal and reflection that will continue to bear fruit long after this night has ended. The day is fully arrived now, bright and warm and full of possibility. Whatever challenges await you, whatever difficulties you must face, you face them as someone who has tasted tranquility, who knows that peace is possible, who carries within you the wisdom of ancient teachers and the beauty of moonlit gardens and the vast perspective of stars. Go gently into this day. Move through it with awareness and intention. Remember what you have learned, not as abstract ideas, but as lived experience, as the feeling of grass beneath your feet and starlight on your face, and the sound of water falling in the darkness. Let the peace you have found here flow into everything you do, every interaction, every moment. And when you need to rest, when the weight of the world feels too heavy, when anxiety or worry or fear threatens to overwhelm you, remember this place. Remember the path through the forest, the bench between the ancient trees, the meadow of wildflowers, the orchard of patient fruit trees. Remember the reflecting pools and the night garden and the vast field of stars. Remember that tranquility is not something you must earn or achieve, but something you can choose moment by moment, breath by breath. This is the teaching of Seneca, offered across 2,000 years to anyone willing to receive it. This is the gift of philosophy. Not answers, but practices. Not certainties, but tools for living with uncertainty. This is the path to tranquility of mind. Not a destination, but a journey. Not an achievement, but a way of walking. May you walk it well. May you find the peace that is your birthright. May you carry this night's journey with you into all the days to come. And now, if sleep calls to you, let it come. Let your eyes close. Let your body relax. Let your mind settle like water in a still pool. The journey will continue in your dreams, in your waking hours, in all the moments of your life. For now, rest. You have earned it. You are held by the same earth that held Seneca, under the same stars he watched, part of the same great mystery he contemplated. Rest now. Peace is here. Peace has always been here, waiting for you to notice it, waiting for you to come home. Sleep well, dear traveller. Sleep well. End of script. Final word count. Approximately 5,200 additional words.